Now we're going to jump into our next panel. So this is a good transition. We're talking about the role that the private sector can play and does play with Money Smart Week. And as you know, as chair people, there's a lot of local private sector organizations that contribute greatly to Money Smart Week and provide a lot of great curriculum, resources, and sponsorship to make Money Smart Week possible. So today we have an outstanding panel of folks that are going to highlight some of those resources, especially the ones that are for free, right, that we can use and leverage for Money Smart. So first what I'll do is I'll introduce our moderator, and then our moderator will kind of just have a couple opening remarks and introduce the rest of the panelists. She is not on our program. She was a last-minute ad, but we're very lucky to have her. Jacqueline Howard is the Director of Corporate Citizenship at Ally Financial. She brings a wide range of knowledge to her position with experience in grassroots community relations, outreach, digital communications, and corporate public relations. In her position, she is responsible for creation and execution of strategic initiatives for the organization's financial literacy, corporate giving, and employee giving volunteerism programs. She has graduated from the Michigan State University with a Bachelor's of Arts degree in journalism and is currently a student at Syracuse University's Master of Science in Communications Management program, which I think you just finished up. Is that right?
I'm working on
final project, right. We talked about that in Charlotte. And so most recently, Jacqueline received a Certificate of Practice in Corporate Citizenship from Boston College. And Jackie has also been very instrumental and a big player in Money Smart Week mission, particularly in Detroit. So welcome, Jackie. Oh, good. Okay, great.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. Everyone enjoyed the lunch? Yes. Delicious. So I'm really excited to help out with this panel specifically because I hope it provides free. We all like free, right? Yes. Free resources that you all can use in your programs. Ally Financial has partnered with Money Smart Week for about 10 years. And during that time, last year were recognized as one of the partners of the year for the Money Smart program in Michigan. We teamed with 100 Black Men of America and the Society for Financial Education and Professional Development to teach about 30 classes last year alone in the Detroit area. Our partnership is proof that there is success in collaboration. And today you will learn about other programs offered by Visa, Bank of America, and the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education that can be used in your Money Smart Week programs. Please join me in welcoming our panelists. So at this time, I will just give a quick bio for each of our panelists, and then they'll have about 10 minutes to give an overview of their program, and then we'll have about 15 minutes for questions. Okay? So the first person we have is Hugh Norton. He is the Chief Account Executive for Visa's Financial Literacy Program at CRC Public Relations. Norton organizes and promotes the company's financial literacy efforts in the United States, including the award-winning Practical Money Sils for Life, Veterans Financial Coalition, and What's My Score programs. Norton has done public relations for a wide range of financial services, entertainment, and public affairs clients, including publicity for multiple New York Times bestsellers and even an Oscar-winning Best Picture. Next, we have Julie Chavez. She is Senior Vice President and Market Manager for Bank of America, where she is responsible for managing a variety of programs in the areas of philanthropy, community and civic engagement, volunteerism, sponsorships, communications, and business integration for the Chicago area. During her career at Bank of America, she has served in a variety of positions in global marketing, corporate affairs, charitable giving, and community development. Chavez has an MBA from the National Louis University in Chicago. She is a board member of the Metropolitan Family Services, National Museum of Mexican Art, Metropolitan Pier and Exposition Authority, and the National Veterans Art Museum. She also serves on the Local Initiative Support Corporation Chicago Advisory Board. She is a fellow in the leadership of Greater Chicago. And finally, we have Gary Rabior. I wanted to make sure I got his name right. And we're using a bit of technology here today, a combination between my print and my iPhone. So Gary is the president of the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education, affectionately known as CFEE. CFEE is the sister organization of the Council on Economic Education in the U.S. He has been with CFEE since 1978 and running it since 1981. CFEE is a nonprofit, nonpartisan charitable organization that works to support 4 learning pillars, affecting one's ability to learn and build successful financial future. Economic education, financial education, entrepreneurship, and enterprise education, along with career development. Gary has authored many resources, including Money and Youth, with over 400,000 copies in circulation, and the Guide to Implementing a Successful Financial Education Program in Schools. Gary is currently a member of the Canadian government's National Steering Committee and is currently working to develop financial literacy strategy in Canada. So again, let's welcome our panelists. And Hugh, please come up and share your program.
Hey guys. This is fun. All right. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with Visa's programs. We have a variety of them. I'm going to kind of go through them at a very high level, and then if anybody has questions about other programs that we have, other opportunities, partnerships, anything like that, or different ways you could integrate that into your own Money Smart Week programs, I'd be happy to talk to you about that in more detail later. I'll be around. So Visa has been delivering financial literacy education for over 20 years. And our programs, basically it's part of the corporate responsibility programs that Visa does. They're award-winning, they're free programs, and they're dedicated to helping consumers manage their money through all stages of their life. So you can see, our website receives over 1 million page views per month. We have credit facts, free credit score tools, videos, online games, and financial calculators. There's a full classroom curriculum, and it's been mapped to state standards. Over 30 financial calculators, 20 money management brochures, and budgeting workbooks, and those are geared towards anything from retirement, veterans, women's issues, anything like that, to really sort of gear in on people at specific points in their life. We have 8 educational games, mobile budgeting apps. I don't know if you've seen our prom or tooth fairy stuff. Those are kind of fun ways to get people talking about finances. Weekly Practical Money Matters column, currently by Nat Sillen in over 500 newspapers in the Huffington Post. So we offer a wide range of things, try to hit as many different sort of subsets globally, really, as we can, all different ages, all different backgrounds. And, all right, here we go. So, although we're probably best known for sort of the fun stuff, for the games and things like that we do actually offer a full curriculum. And in fact, and I should also say, some of the games, in fact, come with curriculums as well. But we offer sort of a comprehensive curriculum, and it's available as a free iBook on iTunes for iPads and stuff like that. There's 22 different teachers' guides and student activities. And it has lessons including, financial responsibility, money and goals, researching and buying a car, etc. But a big focus for us, financial literacy, as all of you guys know, the constant challenge is to make it fun and interesting and engaging. And, I have kids myself, so I know that, when I start talking financial topics, saving, financial literacy, I have about 30 seconds to a minute. And if I haven't really engaged them at that point, they're totally lost. So what we've sort of focused on is the edutainment sort of part of it, and gamification, trying to turn things into good ways to actually really engage kids, make it fun and interesting for them. And in these games, they're not necessarily, it's not something you're going to be able to sit a kid down, in front of and walk away and they're going to learn everything right there. It's a really, really great way to actually start a conversation, though, start getting them asking the right questions and, be able to engage with them on that. So anyway, so we have stuff that's geared more towards elementary school kids. That's the Peter Pig's Money Counter and Money Metropolis, Cash Puzzler. And those are, geared down to very young ages. The middle school, high school, up to, college age and even adult games that we have are the financial football and financial soccer. Visa has we have great global partnerships already. So part of what we do with our financial literacy programs is actually leverage those partnerships. So we have a partnership with FIFA and a partnership with the NFL. So globally, and this is, Visa is a global company. Our focus, isn't just here in the U.S., but it is global. And I know this is, popular also in many areas of the U.S. But we have the financial soccer, and I'm trying to think, we rolled it out. This is the second iteration of the game, was just done for the 2014 World Cup. It's available in 41 countries, 15 different languages. And I mean, it is available in 15 different languages here in the US as well, obviously. It's been played more than 10.5 million times. And it's available to play online. We also provide the program for free as well. Here in the US, what you may be more familiar with is our NFL-themed game, financial football. I see people who've been with us at some of our events here. So financial football, and this is something, and actually during Money Smart Week, back when Alejo was a little bit less busy than he is now, we've actually done sort of a financial football roadshow and gone around for the Chicago Fed doing some state events in different states here. It's a good way, like I said, of introducing financial concepts. It sort of plays a bit like, a mid-90s Madden or something like that, but basically kids can move the ball down the field by correctly answering financial literacy questions. I think before I was familiar with the program, when I first heard about it, I think I was probably a little bit skeptical. Just that high school kids especially would take to anything like this and actually find it really fun or really engaging or anything like that, that they would probably feel more patronized by it. But I've gone out and done these events. We've gotten amazing feedback from teachers, come back and say, this is what makes my students actually want to stay after the bell. When we go out and do the events, I always, laugh at the fact that, kids who are sitting there with their hands in their pockets, kind of slouched down at their chairs. I mean, as soon as those competitive juices get flowing, you have the biggest guys on the football team, sitting there screaming answers from the back. And it's awesome seeing kids get really excited about like what APR means, Like I said, introducing good concepts. It's available in English and Spanish, and it's totally free. So this is available on, Apple devices. It's also available. We have discs out here. And by the way, all the materials I'm going to be talking about today, we have discs and some more comics out there if you want to check them out. You can also order them from the website as well. So something that Visa does also sort of focusing in on younger kids, especially on the middle school ages. You guys are all familiar, I'm sure, with the Avengers. We partnered up with Marvel in order to create a financial literacy comic. And it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit cheesy. My 8-year-old loves it, so it's awesome. And once again, it's good ways to start introducing financial concepts to kids in a way that you can then take the ball and run with it a little bit, and actually open the door to have that conversation. Take that first minute of conversation when the kid's eyes are about to glaze over, and really pounce in there and get them engaged and interested. Like I said, using iconic characters. We're on I think the 4th iteration of the book. It started with Spider-Man. I think we're still down with Ant-Man. It has free worksheets that come with it as well. We've distributed over 400,000 copies globally. It's popular. Available in 8 languages here. I think we also have an additional 10 languages for print that I don't think we're in print right now, but that are available online. And of course, every year we've come back. It's 10 years now that we've had the partnership with Money Smart Week with the Chicago Fed here, and it's been an amazing thing seeing all the speakers, all the different people we've been able to bring together, and it's been an honor always, working with the Fed here and bringing people together. We work with educators, and often we try to do two different panels. One panel will be government heads of banks from around the world, or perhaps financial ministers from different countries, talking about best practices, best solutions to sort of global financial literacy issues. So yeah, as it says here, over 18,000 people have participated or have attended or viewed the summit, and we're very much looking forward to and already starting to plan out this year's. So anyway, I think that's about it for me.
Principles of the Khan Academy. And basically, when we partnered with him, we married his kind of online education and innovation expertise with our financial services expertise. I want to just play a brief video. It's always good to show a movie somewhere down the line, right? Let's see here. And then I will see if I can manage this here. And I think I can minimize it here, and let's see. Great. So Better Money Habits is a relatively new partnership between Bank of America and Saul Khan. It is a dedicated portal, bettermoneyhabits.com. It is free, accessible, no charge. And one of the elements of clearly of the Khan Academy style of teaching is one, it is bite-sized content. Clearly, in the way that we develop the partnership with Saul on financial literacy topics, it's an opportunity for people to set short-term attainable goals, and really also a motivation to keep them going. Clearly, there are topics that are basic to the type of financial questions we get all the time, whether they're about credit, their savings, budgeting, debt, home buying, in particular for a financial institution, renting, etc. One of the elements of Better Money Habits, again, as I said, as a free portal, there's an opportunity for folks to sign up and to keep track of the different workshops and classes that they're taking, earn points, set goals for themselves. And there's, they can go into it anytime, as many times as they want. So if they want to revisit the credit portion, and they can do that on their own. They can do that with their family, with their kids. It's probably the content is probably geared for more high school age, young adult and above. And in fact, as we try to, one of the challenges we have is, how do we get this information out there? You think something for free, everybody is going to be, jumping at the bit. But, we know that through the next couple of years, we do ask for feedback. So all the content that has been up on the website has changed, even through the last couple of years. We ask our employees to give us ideas and content. For example, our employees told us, when our customers come in, they have complaints about the fees that they're getting. They don't understand how a bank works. So we added those elements, different video vignettes, workshops to educate the consumer about, for example, what happens when you deposit a check? When you see those fees, what do they all mean? So we're also learning from our employees, and clearly it's also accessible to our employees because we need to teach them as well better money habits. We are now, for example, targeting retirement information content for employees through the Better Money Habits partnership. So when we surveyed our customers recently, 70% of them told us that they're strained by financial issues. 30% told us they have no savings at all. 75% overall said stressed about money. 70% find it difficult to save toward goals, and overall they gave themselves a C. 67% though said, my bank does nothing to help me achieve goals. So for us, it is a commercial-free product, and that was one of the reasons that we partnered with Saul. I mean, those were his, as far as his credibility and his commitment and how he developed the Khan Academy. Those principles, are aligned with what Better Money Habits, puts out to the marketplace. One, the fact that it's free. the fact that there are no commercials. We do not, when any of our employees or anyone goes out to present Better Money Habits, it's not for the, presenting, oh, here's a way you can open a checking account. No, it's truly on the topics, the financial education topics that are of interest to our audience. One of the things that we've learned through the years is, how is Better Money Habits appealing to the different groups, whether it's, for example, we found it is appealing and helpful to folks that are trying to meet day to day, make their ends meet day to day. So keeping the language simple, streamlined, is very important to us as we currently, work to develop even more content and improve our videos. Certainly, it is very helpful for parents with kids under 18 years because it helps them to talk about these topics and money issues. And also, it's very important for our millennials because they are concerned about saving and credit. Many of them, are challenged. They're still living at home with their parents, where they, would maybe normally be out in the, out in the world on their own. Many of them, are underemployed or unemployed and need to live at home. So it helps to millennials and the issues that they're facing on financial issues. We have found, though, that one of the challenges we have is, for example, how do we get the word out? So we do advertise, for example, have marketed, Saul in his image and his words, he's clearly an opportunity for us to get the word out about the impact that Better Money Habits can have on the individual, on families. We do find that sometimes nonprofits, as we funding our nonprofit partners, we do educate them about Better Money Habits, because clearly we find that many of our community partners are out there creating content on their own. They're spending a lot of staff time and resources creating curriculum and content on their own. So I think sometimes our community partners have great intentions, but they think they have to start from scratch. So it is a ready-made content. Is clearly it's not for every audience. It's not for probably middle school students, but I think we have found that great success for high school, the young adult. The millennial population certainly is a target for, for Better Money Habits, but also for anyone that just, sometimes you're afraid to ask these questions. Your kids assume that you know it, that how credit works, how interest rates work, how do you buy a home? And so I think it's a safe way also in the privacy of your own home, or you can go to your public library and call up bettermoneyhabits.com. And again, it's, usually the videos are 3 or 4 minutes of time, vignettes, and it's an opportunity for you to go back and learn as best as you can. So on your own, in your own time, for free. So those are some of the elements that we have found that are very important in, in educating the public about the opportunities that Better Money Habits might offer them and their families. We continue to, as I said, learn from our employees, especially our employees who are serving our customers through our financial centers, as we call them now. And we have learned also from the public as they go into the website and they view the different content, give us feedback. And as I said, from the last couple of years, we have drastically changed, the way we present the content. And clearly, there's, the world's it's limitless what type of topics we can include, and clearly our alignment with Saul really helps to give it the credibility that we feel is important, that this is really about, how do we make financial lives better? How do we connect people to the resources, the information they need to make better financial decisions, whether they're in high school, whether they're going to college, or they're young families starting out for the first time, or whether they're seniors who are struggling with trying to make their ends meet. I'd be glad to answer any questions at the Q&A. Thank you.
Will that presentation magically appear? I count on you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gary Rabier. As noted, I'm the president of the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education. I would like to thank Alejo and his team for inviting us to be part of this panel today and having a chance to share with you information about our program. You'll find some information on our program on your table for those of you who can grab one quickly. Later on, it's $15 a piece. So if you can grab the free one. Actually, for those of you who don't get one, we'll have more for you later, but there is some information on our program there if you would like to grab it. Good spot for that. I would also like to acknowledge the fact that our resource that we share with you today is free, but as you all know, after today's lunch, there's no such thing as a free lunch. That's the first principle of economics. And I'd like to thank BMO Harris for the support that they have given to this program, and it's why I'm here, and it's why this program is free for you. So, also delighted as a Canadian to get across the border before you elected Donald Trump and put the wall up to keep us out. Although we do suspect it's already started because none of my emails get through to Alejo, so I think he's filtering in already. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that the real consequence of yesterday was, in fact, the Toronto Blue Jays won the ALCS championship. So the longest drought in sports history in North America, that team is finally in the playoffs, so we're delighted about that. I plan to share with you some information that I'm sure will appear in front of me when I push this. Is that right? Hey, look at that. Thank you. Hey. The right button? There it is. Thank you very much. I'm going to share with you information about our Talk with Our Kids About Money program, that we now also have a complementary program called the Money Fair, and we'll share information with you about that as well. First of all, just a brief word about us. For those of you who know the Council on Economic Education, that used to be the National Council on Economic Education, that used to be the Joint Council on Economic Education, one of these days they'll actually settle on a final name. We are their sister organization, and we worked with them on a number of projects over the years, including trade-offs, give and take, Econ and Me, if any of you ever heard of those programs, or E3, an entrepreneurship program. We also work internationally with the OECD in Paris. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with PISA, and that the U.S. will be participating in the PISA study in 2017, which will compare financial literacy in the U.S. with other countries around the world. And if you're interested in more information on that and you're not aware of it, let me know. I'll pass that along. We also do work with other organizations such as the Asia Pacific Economic Community, where we developed a global guidebook to help Asia Pacific nations develop effective financial education programs. We are a partnership, collaboration, and sharing organization. Everything we do is for free, and we secure partners such as BMO Harris to enable us to do that. And they are BMO Financial Group in Canada, where this program was quite successful, and therefore, with BMO Harris's support, we are moving it and have been moving it into the United States. Why this program? One, the growing recognition of the importance of financial literacy and financial education over recent years. The 2008 financial crisis really helped to bring that to people's attention. Also, I think the fact that financial matters are becoming much more complex. Also, that the consequence of making mistakes are often much greater. I think there's just a broader appreciation that it's time we actually did something about this in our schools, and there's a heightened interest in doing so. Integration, as you may well aware, has been shown not to be successful in the past in schools, and I think there's good reason for that. And I think it's often because we haven't provided the right tools and support to teachers to handle the integration. And I think integration is indeed possible as long as we provide the teacher training and resources to support them to be able to do it effectively. But one of the big factors is, of course, the hesitance and resistance of both educators and parents to get into discussions and teaching about this topic because of their own perception of their lack of capability and confidence in doing so. We need to break down that barrier. It's been mentioned, I think, a number of times today, that people aren't listening. People have got their ears, they don't want to hear, they don't want to listen, they don't want to do this. I think it's time that we started to change the message if we can, and I'd welcome your help in doing that. I think it's a lot like people who don't go to the doctor because they don't want to hear the bad news. I think financial education and literacy is often seen as medicine. It's going to tell me all the bad stuff and it's got to make me better. I'd rather see it as a vitamin, that we're actually creating a healthy life. And I think if we can change that message, we can get more people to listen than who are currently listening now. But I think the biggest factor we've got to break through is the resistance of educators and parents to actually get involved. New Zealand is one of the leaders in the world in this area, and they just developed a new national strategy. The first requirement in that strategy for the country is to talk. That is what they've said is their first priority, because they realize if people aren't talking, there's no learning. And if people aren't, you've got to get people talking in an effective way for people to actually listen. So there's that increased recognition that it's also a shared responsibility. We just did a survey in Canada, and overwhelmingly people see the responsibility of this as schools and parents, supported by the efforts of NGOs and the private sector, but the delivery responsibility lies with schools and parents overwhelmingly, as people said. And therefore, we need to help parents and teachers to get engaged, to bring support to those who are actually willing to get engaged and willing to help. So there's a need for that engagement, I think, if it's going to be successful, to be easy, fun, have impact, and fit with what everybody's already doing, because nobody wants to do anything more. Everybody's got enough to do already. And we got to build that confidence and be a catalyst to interest in doing more if we can get them interested. We got to get them started. If we get them started and get them engaged, there's so much more that they could do. So that's our goal. For any of you who have one of those pieces of equipment in front of you, if you wanted to go to talkwithourkidsaboutmoney.com, you'll actually go to the website. The website will read where you are. It'll read which state you're in, which province you're in, which country you're in. And the websites are all developed accordingly because the materials are designed to be correlated, in this case, with state curriculum. So if you're loading it up in Illinois, you'll get lesson plans associated with Illinois' curriculum. If you do it in Wisconsin, you get Wisconsin's curriculum and so forth, so that all the lesson plans and the resource are correlated to state curriculum. They've also been reviewed to fit with any of the frameworks, the Common Core, financial literacy guidelines, the CE's national guidelines. So we've had a team of people who've gone through and correlated them to all the required frameworks that are out there. So they are also in English and in Spanish in the United States. We do it in English and French in Canada, but you'll find that there's the Spanish option here. So that's the website. It's actually going through a redesign, and it'll be much more interactive than the current one is, but it's, if you go there, you'll find that you have free access to all the resources to support this program. Because we're asking for just a day, and that is the last Wednesday in April 27th this year, right in Money Smart Week. It's the one day that we ask teachers, in this case of the 7th grade, to teach a lesson in their subject area about money. And we provide lesson plans in math, social studies, every subject area, fitting with their curriculum in their subject area, but focusing on a math topic. And so we're asking for one day. And what we've found is that by getting one day, you get people willing to do it, you get teachers engaged in doing it, they see their kids are engaged, and it inspires them to, one, have the confidence that I can do this, and second, that my kids are really interested in this. And so by going here and encouraging, and it's part of what you could do as your program if it's something that's of interest to you, is to encourage schools to get involved and talk with our kids about Money Day. But in addition to that, there's also a home program, and I'll share that with both of you. So it encourages parents, guardians, and teachers to have the talk, to get it started, to break down the barrier. And to make it easy for them to do so, help build their confidence to feel that I can do this, make it easy to do more if they want to do more. And although we celebrate a day, because we picked that day, you can do it any day. The site's there 24/7, 365 days a year. If you want to use it as a talk with our kids about money support, it's all there. We just try and focus that attention because, of course, the media also tend to like a day. And so we often get the media in the schools and covering events and whatever. So by the celebration of a day, we get attention to it. But this is a full year job, and the resources are there for you all year long. There are two key components. We have a home program for parents. And the resources are for any age child, and they're organized by age range on the site. So if your kid is 5 to 7, 8 to 10, whatever, you'll find relevant activities, a book to read, a movie to watch, craft to make, trip to take, something like that to support parents in their efforts to get involved and discuss money with their kids. It also recognizes that there's a difference in the relationship between a parent and a child and a student and a teacher. And so the programs designed for parent are fun, natural, and easy. It's not parent being teacher, because if it's anything like my kids, up until about the 6th grade, they'd listen to me. After that, I couldn't tell them anything that was right. My son, I could teach him everything about hockey until that point, and then Dad had nothing to offer. It sort of turns out, right? And so there's a switch. So it can't be a teacher. It's got to be that natural relationship, and so the activities are designed to be so. On the school program, we emphasize that any teacher, any subject, any grade, anywhere can participate in this program. There's no limit in that respect. For the ease of logistics and organizing plans for the schools, we did focus on 7th grade. And so the lesson plans you'll find there are 7th grade targeted. But as any capable teacher will do, they will take that and modify it to 6th, 5th, 8th, 9th. They can get the idea and work with it from there. So it is correlated to curriculum at the 7th grade, but the lesson plans are there and can cover a wide range. There's little prep required. They have been designed to be engaging activities, life relevant for the kids, opportunities for pre and post activities and linked to the framework. One teacher, any number of teachers. If we get one, we're happy. We've had entire schools, every grade, every teacher get involved in the program. So it ranges according to the interest of the particular school. Our success to date, we piloted in Toronto and Montreal in 2012-13. We hoped for 150. We got 460 schools participating. We then went to all of Ontario, Quebec, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and started in Chicago. We partnered with the City of Chicago, Chicago Public Schools, Econ Illinois, and the Center for Economic Education at UIC because we want to turn this program over locally. We're going to introduce it with the help of BMO Harris, and then we're going to move on, and we'd like to leave it in the hands of local organizers who want to own the program and run with it. We had 1,300 schools participate in Canada in that year, 130 in Chicago. Last year we expanded further, got 2,400 in Canada and 300 in the US. But as noted, any teacher anywhere, please participate. April 27th is the day. We also now run a money fair with it. This was created by a teacher as part of this program. It's to be a complement and it's to get parents in the community also more involved. Pairs of students, like in a science fair, pick a money topic. They do research on their topic and they prepare a display board. And they show what it is they have learned. They're all set up in a common area of the school, and other kids from the school, teachers, and parents are invited into there to talk with the kids about what they have learned and what they have done. Most of the schools also run it as a competition, rewarding the best kids, and they bring community members in and members of the media and whatever in to judge them, and that gets more interest and more attention to it. Great interest among local media and local newspapers in covering this kind of event. The last year we ran one in Wisconsin. They ran it in grades 4 to 8. The winners were 2 grade 4 boys who talked about the 6 key principles of economics. And these kids could talk it. This wasn't just reading off their boards. You asked them a question, they could give you the answer. They continue to surprise people with what they have as a capacity to learn. And so that's the Money Fair program. We encourage schools to do these and then culminate them on Talk with Our Kids About Money Day and invite parents in to see what kids have learned and what they can talk about and get the discussions going. We are hoping to do one here in Chicago as a sort of celebration, getting Chicago schools involved, picking the top ones at schools around Chicago and bring them to the Fed on April 27th to showcase their work collectively and invite guests in to come and talk with them, see them, and so forth. So we'll be doing that event here with Aleo's help and his team on April 27th next year. And let's see, encourage teachers to get involved, how you can help. If it fits with your activities you'd like to get involved, please do. As I mentioned, if you're outside the areas we're currently working in but would like to do so, let us know. We have guide materials, teachers' guides. We have a money fair guide. We have a parent guide. We have all the support materials you might need. Encourage teachers and schools to get involved if you think it's of interest to them. Money fairs, I got to tell you, if you do one of these, you'll do them every year. When you see the level of interest of the teachers and the students, it's extraordinary. We had a teacher talking to the media in one we did recently. He said it's the most satisfying thing I've ever done as an educator, just to see the life relevance and the engagement of the kids. Use TUCAM and money fairs to share information on other resources and programs that you have so that you can use as a catalyst to get people doing other things. Share the student work and accomplishments on websites. If you see kids doing great work, share it. Show what kids can do. Encourage others to get involved because we so often underestimate the capacity of what young people can do and learn in this area. Spread the word, send us your suggestions, and do whatever you can do to help and what we can ever do to help you. And our thanks again to BMO Harris for enabling us to help you. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much to our panelists. I hope everyone's excited with all of these free resources from games and the Khan Academy videos. And I love the idea of the financial literacy fair. Every school should have that. So now let's open it up to questions. I think we have about 15 minutes. Are we on track? 10 minutes. Sorry, we lost 5. So we have about 10 minutes. We'll open it up. Well, I'll actually start with a question. We were actually, as Alejo mentioned, I'm with Ally, and we were in Charlotte a couple of weeks ago looking to launch Money Smart Week in the Charlotte area. And one of the things that our community partners got a little intimidated by is this idea of teaching financial literacy, and they're not experts in that space. And it automatically turned into, as you mentioned, we need to create a curriculum. And I said, no, you do not need to create a curriculum because there's so many resources out there. So for those, if we have any new Money Smart Week chairs here that are looking to implement programs, how can they use your programs in a digestible way to execute it, fairly quickly for Money Smart Week, and still get the core of what you're doing and do a good job at it, although they're not experts?
I think a lot depends on who is their audience. Is it, children that they're trying to target? Is it high school age and or college age? Is it, adults? So you think for nonprofits to know, it's like, this is my audience, this is who we want to target this information to. And look around to, clearly if there's local partners, companies, like, if there's Bank of America in their neighborhood, in their community, certainly connect with one of my partners around the country. But I think they have to be clear as who is their audience? What do they want to achieve with that, with that audience? They're not going to be able to boil the ocean. That person, if they're not doing financial stability programming, if they're just wanting to do a good service for their clients, one is, are there any other nonprofit partners that are expert in financial stability type of programming that probably have better expertise? But I think sometimes nonprofits feel they have to do it all. One, so if they're not normally doing it, are there other organizations where they are an expert in this topic? But I'll also be clear, what is it that they want to accomplish with their clients, with their audience?
Yeah, and I would say, specifically as it pertains to our material, I would echo that. Obviously, it depends on who you're targeting. I would think that a lot of the stuff that we offer probably scales best to, maybe being used either as a giveaway, a takeaway for, people who are attending events or talks or something like that, or also as events. We have organized specific statewide launches, but many of our partners, and I know during Money Smart Week this sometimes happens as well, where people will actually take it and do an event themselves. And so usually when we do events, these can be things that can be used to get some media attention. I don't know, you might want to work with a local football player, do a financial football event with your library, have competition between, two groups or something like that. And that's a good way of, having a quick sort of fun event. And I can also tell you that, it's another good way of sort of raising attention, getting media attention. I also know that, at times we've had other, partners do things, where it's much more involved. There was a situation in Richmond where they actually had a number of, there was a middle school that used the financial football program as an education for all of the kids. So the kids did the curriculum out throughout the year, and then during Money Smart Week, they actually did, they broke up into teams of 4 and had a whole tournament until Unified had. Anyway, so those are sort of, maybe a little bit too detailed, but at the same time, I think those are probably the best aspects to add that sort of fun.
It sounds interactive and fun, so that seems like a key theme there.
Yeah, and for us, of course, it's the rationale for why we designed the whole program the way it is. It's a one-day ask. It's a quick program. It gets people started, gets them interested, and hopefully raises the interest among others. Point you made, we don't have a supply issue in financial education. We have more than enough resources and programs and whatever. We have a demand issue. We do not have people wanting what it is we have. We have to increase the demand side from teachers and parents, and therefore I think we have to do a better job at demonstrating the personal value and benefit of this so that there's a greater incentive for people to get involved. We do almost everything we do on the basis of incentives, the desire for reward or benefit or the fear of penalty or punishment. If we're going to be successful, we have to somehow get effective incentives in place to increase the demand by people for financial education so that teachers and parents are more empowered to do it with the resources and programs that are excellent and readily available. And so I think, and the other thing is I think if we really want to be effective, we have to get the kids doing the program, not us teaching the program. We have to get them. That's why the Money Fair has worked so successfully. The kids do all the work. I mean, there's the old adage at the end of term, it should be the kids, not the teacher, that's tired. And yet we often do too much time teaching and not enough time having kids do the learning. And I think that's one of the keys to success too. And as was mentioned this morning, you don't need a day, a year, a month to change a life. You need a moment. And if you have a good teacher with passion, that one moment in the classroom will change the whole direction of where things are going. And I think that the whole notion of doing something quick and emphasizing quality over quantity will make all the difference going forward.
Well, I would just add to that just really quickly that, I mean, it's also a visibility issue, right? I mean, I think a lot of times people just don't have any idea where to go. So, I mean, and I think it's, helpful to have people like you out there to actually, spread the message that programs like this are available, and the CFPB stuff that's all in like one place on that site, and that's awesome. And people should know about that, but that's that's not an easy message to get out without lots of people out there spreading it. So.
Just one addition to that, I think it was mentioned earlier, maybe at lunch, that part of the problem with people who decide they want to get into this area, there's so much. It's overwhelming. There was the notion that people don't do anything when there's so much choice. We have one-stop shop websites that have 8,000 resources, and you get a teacher that you manage to get interested, they go there, whoa, don't even know where to begin. So I think another role that you can play out there is to be a broker between the ones who you get interested and directing them to the things that might be helpful for them, because you know more what's out there and can help that, but it's overwhelming to the neophyte to even begin. And so even if we get interest, no.
We had a question back here?
Yeah, I have a follow-up to that. I have a hard time or struggle with getting local schools and teachers to have that interest. Is there a certain contact person or somebody that you would recommend planting a seed with to try and spread the word?
Well, there's an answer over here before we do it.
A lot of times if you go to your school district and find out who the head of curriculum is, and then they can filter it out to all of the schools, all the specific teachers, or if you are fortunate enough to have access to specific teacher emails, then you can target either a grade level or if you're going to high school, maybe the consumer economics classes, things like that. That can help.
Okay.
Just a couple of other thoughts too. If you, as much as what schools often have parent councils now, if you can actually reach the parents first, the parents can be an influence on the interest of the teachers. The other, we find that schools are transformed by the interest of the principal. If the principal gets interested in something, real leadership falls from there, and they can often inspire and encourage teachers to do so. The other thing that we've found is that if you actually run workshops for teachers on personal financial planning, and they personally, because so many of them could benefit from it, and they recognize the benefit, they say, I can see the relevance now of this for my kids, because a lot of times when you talk about personal financial education, they don't even know what you're talking about. It's all over the map. And so if you ran local workshops for teachers on handling your personal finances, all of a sudden they transition that into, geez, my kids could benefit from this as well.
Oh, I'm sorry, with the
I
mic.
have a sponsor.
Oh.
I would recommend look at your state standards, and if you look at your standards and find where teachers are required to teach that information, and you show up with a ready-made lesson, not only they're going to be appreciative, but they're going to be able to incorporate it into their classroom without any kind of pushback. And that's going to be a gift rather than, I'd like you to do something for me. So.
Thank you.
I work for a community bank in Indiana, and annually we have a financial literacy fair for educators. I invite all of them to come and then give them all of this free information because teachers have, the financial crunch is so hard on them. The first 10 school systems that sign up, I give a $50 check to help subsidize the cost of their sub. And they leave with all this information. I can guarantee you I'm going to talk about some of what you have today at our fair this year. Anyhow, and I also work with an education service center, so they get continuing ed credit for attending.
Thank you.
Could I just throw in one last thought on the question over here? The one thing we have found is that, for example, when they run a money fair and the other teachers see the level of engagement of kids, when they actually see the interest level of students, it's what motivates teachers, right? A good teacher loves it when their kids are engaged. The more there's an opportunity within the school to show that kids can do this and they like doing this, the more other teachers want to get involved.
Okay, everyone, I think we're going to wrap up now. Again, thank you to our panelists. I hope we all have walked away with some really great ideas that we can implement this year, next year.